Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a lovely Sunday. Thank you for choosing our show. As the political realignments continue to take shape ahead of 2027, there is only one question that Kenyans are asking. Who will take on President William Samoei Ruto? Because Kenyans are still trying to look for a formula. They're trying to craft a formula that can give Ruto a run for his money. And of course, several names have come up. And so far, there seems to be one united camp, even though we do not know who the flag bearer will be. We've had names like Fredo King Matiangi, who was recently endorsed by his former boss and his friend Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta of the Jubilee Party. We've had the Trans Nzoia governor Natembeya George. We've heard of Martha Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka is there, Eugene Wamalwa. This seems to be in one camp, and Rigathi Gachagua seems to be the one who is heading this camp. Now, when the former President Uhuru Kenyatta endorsed the former Interior Minister, Fredo King Matiang'i, many questions were asked because many had thought that he would endorse Kalonzo Musyoka. It is believed that it is Uhuru Kenyatta who somehow persuaded Kalonzo to support Raila Odinga for the third time in 2022. As to why he decided to ditch Kalonzo and endorse Matiang'i is something that Kenyans are still asking to get an answer. Now, someone was saying that for the period ever since William Ruto ascended to power, the sons and daughters of Omogusi have come up to play a big role in trying to check this government. They are saying that if you look at Nelson Amenya, Amenya was the whistleblower in the JKIA attempted takeover by Adani. And they are saying that Richard Onyonka, who is the Kisii senator, is another firebrand who is giving William Ruto sleepless nights. They're also saying that if you look at Mosira, I think is the Minister for Environment in Sakaja's Nairobi County, and they're saying that Mosira is the only person who is doing a good job. He works like Matiang'i. He's the one who goes from place to place. Whenever there are people making noise in the estates, people are polluting environment, he goes there hand on. And of course, there is Fredo King Matiang'i, whose name has come up. So they are saying that maybe this time round, sons of Omogusi are poised to take over the leadership of this country. But ladies and gentlemen, after the endorsement of Fredo King Matiang'i, many people thought that that was it. It was the final decision, and Matiang'i would find it very easy to ride towards 2027. But something happened abruptly. The former Chief Justice, David Emeritus Maraga, a man who some people have always described as having the heart of a lion, having stood to resist the pressure and the dictatorship in 2017 when he got the guts to nullify an election that was pitting him against what we may call a sitting president, the Uhuru presidency. David Maraga plunged into this arena of politics. And 4 days ago, David Maraga met Nyamisa Chela and the Gen Z group, and this raised eyebrows. Many people are saying that maybe Maraga is being sponsored against Fredo King Matiang'i. Others are saying that maybe youths are trying to persuade Maraga to apply for the position of the chairman of the IEBC, because come 2027, Kenyans believe that we need a man of integrity who can stand firm in the wake of pressure from the executive, because we saw what happened in 2020, the last election, 2022. Others are also saying that maybe Maraga is trying to escape this role that is being requested to take, because he's now engaging in somehow what we may call active politics, so that when he applies, he will be considered as a man who has started politics, and therefore they will disqualify him. Some people are saying that this is the easiest way to escape that trap that Kenyans seem to be giving him. Now, something happened today, ladies and gentlemen. David Maraga shared this post on his X handle. He was still engaging with the youths. That as part of my ongoing engagement with the youth, the young people invited me to the ACK Holy Trinity Church in Kibra, Nairobi, for their youth service today. The service was presided over by the church vicar, Barak Odwor, whose sermon was on Moses' leadership of the children of Israel out of Egypt. After the service, I had a chance to engage some of the youth and was impressed and encouraged by their enthusiasm and believe in the possibility of new Kenya that will address their concerns. Yawa, aki mnapiga kelele. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand the kind of connection between Maraga and the youths. After meeting them 4 or 5 days ago, today they invited Maraga, and Maraga accepted that invitation. Remember, Maraga is a staunch Christian. Maraga is a staunch Seventh-day Adventist member. I believe he still worships at Lavington SDA Church. That means Maraga worshipped yesterday on Saturday. Now, despite all that, he accepted to accompany the youths in a church in Kibra, the ACK church. And that tells you that he had to sacrifice his moment. Having gone to church yesterday, he still accepted the invitation and he accompanied the youths. And I want you to understand the choice of the church. ACK, where? Kibra. Now, they chose to worship in Kibra. They didn't look for some posh estates, and this maybe they want to portray humility, mtu wa chini pale, down to earth. And looking at the pictures, I can see Maraga standing in front there with the bishop, if I'm not wrong, which means Maraga was given a chance to address the church, and they are very happy there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why I'm saying that Maraga has scared Fredo King Matiang'i. Because if you look at all the candidates, after Uhuru Kenyatta abandoned Kalonzo Musyoka and endorsed Matiang'i, Matiang'i seemed to have warmed many hearts. And even Gen Zs at some point, they were being seen as if they were lining towards Fredo King Matiang'i in terms of his strictness and his performance at the education docket. It seemed like he was the automatic flag bearer in that camp. But with the entry of Maraga, if at all David Maraga is going to contest for presidential seat, then I can assure you that it is not going to be easy for Fredo King Matiang'i. Do you think Okengo Matiang'i will be happy when Maraga comes into the fold and he also wants to contest? He will not be very happy. And that's what I want us to look at. Number one, if Matiang'i and Maraga are going to contest, then it means that the Kisii votes will be divided. In Kenya, we play some kind of tribal politics so that you must galvanize your support from where you come from before you send an olive branch to the other people to embrace you. There is no way, for example, Matiang'i can tell us that he wants to become president when his Kisii people are rejecting him. So you must start by ensuring that you are endorsed by your people. That's what all the other candidates have done. Ruto controls Rift Valley. Raila started with the Luos. Mudavadi is still struggling to embrace the Luya votes. Gachagua has consolidated the support base of Murima. So Maraga will give Matiang'i a run for his money as far as the sons and daughters of Omoguzi's votes are concerned. And this is something that might not be very easy for Matiang'i, because I have a feeling that many people will lean towards David Maraga. Because if there is something that Fredo King Matiang'i needs now, is to ensure that he gets almost 100% of the Kisii votes. And with the entry of Maraga, you can take it to the bank that he cannot get that number. They will divide it almost in the middle, or Maraga can even get three quarters. Number two, Maraga seems to have taken the Gen Z support because at some point it was Matiangi. At some point, Gen Zs leaned towards Okia Mutata, but when Matiangi came in, it is like they embraced Matiangi. Now they seem to be engaging Maraga. So when they take the Gen Z votes from Matiangi, because I'm sure Matiangi was also thinking very deeply about the Gen Z's votes because Gen Zs are so many. They sent an indelible mark when they went to the streets and occupied parliament. If they can turn all those into votes, then the person who gets the majority of Gen Z votes can be rest assured that he will be declared the winner. So if Maraga takes the Gen Z votes from Matiangi, Matiangi is deflated. There is another politics in religion. Remember Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua went to central through churches. There are very many people who voted for William Ruto because they believed William Ruto was sent from God. Now, Fred Matiang'i and David Maraga both worship, they belong to the Seventh-day Adventist church. If some people would vote on grounds of religion, then we have the Seventh-day Adventist having two choices before them. Before Maraga got into, decided to engage the youths, most of the Seventh-day Adventists, if they had to vote on grounds of religion, they would only have one person to consider, that is Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Now that Maraga has also come in, they have to decide. If you have to vote on a religional ground and you have Matiang'i and Maraga, then many people would go for David Maraga because of his stand, especially what he did in 2017. Many Seventh-day Adventist church members were very happy that he stood for integrity, that he stood against the pressure from the oppressor. So Maraga will also wrestle that votes from the Seventh-day Church. The other thing is that if you look at integrity, if you are to vote for people in terms of integrity, many people would go for Maraga. Fred is a very strong character. But somehow I have seen people trying to bring back the issue of the Ruaraka land saga when he was accused of being part and parcel of the millions of money that was stolen. And I've seen his name features there. So there's some corruption cases around him. People also say that Fred Okengo Matiang'i was part and parcel. In fact, he was the interior minister when the supporters of Raila were killed. When Raila's friends, people like Piguna Mugina, were deported, let's say deported by force to Canada. And many people think that he spoiled his hands in blood. When you compare that to David Maraga, David at some point had taken a Bible, akainua akasema, hajai chukua lungula. He has never taken any bribe. So in terms of integrity, if you have to weigh the two of them, Maraga will still carry the day. And that's why I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that Fred Matiang'i is scared. Maraga has scared him. They share the same religion, which means that if they have to carry votes, they will divide votes. They come from the same region, they will still have to divide votes. Gen Zs are considering the two of them, they will have to do that. And Maraga seems to have carried the lion's share of all the considerations. And I could be wrong, but I think Fred Okengo Matiang'i will not be happy if Maraga can be convinced to get into the political murky waters of Kenya.